we'll see how this goes, audio and visually. But we are live. A couple of minutes late, so apologies for that. For anybody who might be joining on any other relative platforms, but glad to see y'all. Good morning, Mark. Glad to see you too.
Good morning, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
So I think as we jump in, just before we get started, we'll kind of start and end with this. We are two brothers talking, and because we are two brothers, and typically we do talk.
We do talk. We can
So
talk. We can go.
yeah, agree. We can listen.
We do. Yes, I do. I do agree with that.
We can listen. We can also talk. And then also, I just encourage anybody who happens to see this video or joins us live, make sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and our Facebook page. I'm sure we have a TikTok and a Twitch too. We got all the itches and books and all those things. So
We got it.
so follow us, follow us, follow us. And for those who are following, we thank you. We're really appreciative of your attention and hope this blesses you.
Yep.
So today our main topic today is centered around love isn't loud, how men show up in silence.
Yeah.
So maybe like as we get in, usually what we wind up doing is we kind of do these things in three buckets because we're men and we're simple minded and we like things clean and simple. So
Yeah.
so like we kind of start with scoping and defining what it is that we're talking about in the first place.
Yeah.
We'll get into some meat where we'll make sure that we are driving some tools
Yeah.
to arm men and women who listen to us, to just have a better, more productive life, whether that's mental health tools, et cetera.
Yeah.
So love isn't loud, how men show up in silence. So what this is intended to do, just so we kind of ground it, is a lot of times like men struggle to communicate, like we all struggle to communicate how we love, and how we need love.
Right.
And this is intended to really one talk about that because some of us are not self-aware that we do that.
Yep.
Kind of as a starting point, and then I'd say maybe arming men to understand how other men need love, our brothers around them need love,
Yeah.
and then how to communicate that to a woman or spouse, or even how to communicate that to a sister or a brother or a mom or dad if you're an adult, like how to communicate that to the people around you because you need love from everyone, not just a partner.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you also are charged to give love to everyone,
We are.
not just a partner. Right. So, which I would love to hear from you on that side too, of like, what is that charge specifically?
Yeah.
But maybe we start off with just defining, how would you define the love that men need?
Good question. I think it depends on the relationship we're talking about.
Mhm.
'Cause like you already referenced it. There's different kinds of love that we express in different types of relationships. So I think at the end of the day, when you're talking about loving someone, you're talking about like sacrificing for the better good of the relationship. Um, Doing what's best for the relationship, doing what's best for that individual person, putting yourself second. I think if you put yourself first, that's more loving yourself.
Hmm.
But if I'm really gonna love somebody, it usually ends up me sacrificing something. Whether you're talking about in the form of communication, giving, whatever. Like I'm gonna do what's best for that other person.
Mm-hmm.
I think generally speaking, that's how I interpret love.
So I interpret love inclusive of that description,
Okay.
but something I've learned, like I'd say this is recent too, probably over the last like 10 years or less.
Okay.
I feel like love starts with interest. And what I mean by that is like if I love you,
Right.
if I love you, I am interested to understand before I try to sacrifice something. Because sacrificing can sometimes like be I'm being a martyr for my own benefit, my own pride, and I'm
Yeah.
sacrificing something, but it's not really for you. I'm
Right.
making it about you, but it's not really for you.
Okay.
I need to understand what it is that you need, and then my love is demonstrated by fulfilling that need in the way that I'm capable.
Okay. All right.
So like it is a sacrifice to fulfill the need. So that part fits in there that you described. But like now for me, it's preceded by how much effort I put into that understanding. Like for me and my wife, if Shamika doesn't have to say anything. If there's a moment where I am thinking about her, I am going to seek out an understanding of what she needs.
Okay.
I might not be able to fulfill all those needs because I'm not all things, but I'm going to sacrifice something to try to fulfill whatever it is that she needs. But I can't do that till I understand her. I
Okay. So
understand that need.
you're connecting it to loving someone means you need to understand their needs. So the understanding piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the degree that you can, because I don't think you can understand somebody fully, and just like we can't understand God fully, and I don't think that you can fulfill everybody's needs, just
Right.
like you can't be perfect.
Right.
So I recognizing all those things, but it's the effort to do it anyway.
Okay.
That to me is like is and that's what I think about when I'm trying to demonstrate love.
Right.
That's kind of the way I would describe it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I would add is, but it's in line with understanding. Is like if I see somebody on the street, or like a child, and they're about to run into the street, or if I see somebody being harmed or something some kind of way, then something in me ought to rise up and say they need my help. I don't care if you're black, white, Republican, Democrat, whatever. Something in me ought to rise up and say, man, I want to be a part of helping that situation. If I'm empowered if I have the resources to do that,
the ability.
yeah. And so it's kind of like, we can talk about love in the aspect of like personal relationships, and then just in general though, and speaking from the perspective of a believer, God loved the world. And I'm required to love this person that's right next to me, whoever that may be. And so I think it's a nuanced conversation, because like when we talk about loving somebody, it usually is in our own personal space,
right.
Friends, family, whatever. But I'll add that little piece to it, is like, at the end of the day, like as a believer, love should be like the driving force of what I do, which if I know you or don't know you, it almost doesn't matter. To some degree. So that would be the only little caveat I would throw in there. It's like, from a believer's perspective, we ought to function out of love.
So let me ask you a question, and then I want to come back to that, because you're touching on something. You're jumping ahead in school. You're touching on something I definitely had in my mind. I hadn't shared with you that is keen to this topic,
right.
And you already kind of hit it. So I'll come back to it. But can you just double click into what you said about God loves the world, and like what's the charge biblically, just for a second, what's the charge that God put on believers as it relates to love?
The charge is we are to love him with everything,
okay,
our heart, mind, strength, and then love our neighbors as ourselves. So
can you explain that last one a little bit? Your interpretation of the last one.
So I look at it as like, I naturally love myself. If I see fire, I just naturally pull it back as a reflex, but also as like self-preservation.
Right.
I love myself. I should feel that same way. I'm literally going to put, I think the same things I would do for myself, I should be willing to do for others. And then you kind of tie into sacrifice too, because you're kind of like, I'm going to put the needs of others sometimes before myself. But in general, I want to love people just like I naturally love myself. I think that's our charge. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. So then I'm gonna tie that back to like we should love everyone, commentary. So I do think that there should be a fundamental layer of, like, your foundation as a man is intended to be love.
Okay.
Not harm, aggression, combativeness, not macho man. Like it's intended to be love.
Right.
And love does at times look soft. Love also at times looks very firm.
Right.
And it just all depends on the circumstance. But I do feel like as men, our foundation is intended to be love, but I think we've kind of lost that. Like I don't feel that, generally speaking, men operate in love, but and maybe I'm being naive or optimistic, but like I do feel that most men have that boiling inside of them to show that love, and they think or feel that it's not right to show it. Like it's gonna make you look weak, or people are gonna look down on you, or or it's self-preservation. Well, if I show love, that means I got to sacrifice this thing for this person. But I don't want to give them that. I want to keep that for myself.
Right.
And it's like they've kind of we have lost this this understanding and commitment. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. We've lost the commitment to love and to make that core to who we are at all times and to challenge each other on it.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you
Uh-huh.
see me not showing love to my oldest son, Chris, the right way, you're around enough, you will call me out in a constructive way. You will
Right.
call me out on that. Maybe privately say, hey, this is what I noticed.
Right.
That doesn't seem aligned to what I know of you and
Right.
how I know your heart to be.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on? You know, is something I can help with? Like that kind of charge. And I just tried to do that. I just tried to articulate that way to show the example of it doesn't have to be aggressive and it doesn't have to be accusatory.
Yeah.
You know, or awkward. It just needs to be authentic and driven by love. But I just don't feel like that conversation sample I just gave. I don't think that happens very often.
I don't either. I think I think love is being siphoned out of our society,
Hmm.
and it's been replaced with like more so self-love. If you look at all the movements, all the political parties, it's a love of self. I'm going to champion this cause because it benefits me.
Hmm.
And so this is why, like, just in our everyday relationships, at the point you're not serving me and I'm not getting what I need, which is really my love of myself,
Hmm.
then I'm probably gonna like check out. If you're a friend and you're not like adding to me, I cut you off. So like I think like society as a whole has moved into this direction of like more so loving of self
Hmm.
as opposed to this love that does for others. And I think that's why when we talk about like the foundation,
Hmm.
it's not there anymore. And even for us as men, my wife is out doing whatever, then I'm looking up elsewhere to get what I'm giving myself the love that I think I deserve in my mind,
Hmm.
and it just society just crumbles, into these little different silos of all these people. This group loves themselves in this way. I love myself in this way, and it's just like it's not working. It's just not working. Like here locally in the Dallas DFW Metroplex, we've had a lot of shootings. I don't know if you.
Hmm.
It's like people are frustrated inside. People are angry. When I watch the news, I don't see love. I
Yeah.
see like people are just tired, frustrated, angry, and it's not working.
I agree. I think also there's just a double click into that last comment.
Uh-huh.
Like there's a trend. If you go back and you look at the folks that are involved in not just shootings, but like involved in things that are what I would call like exhibits of frustration and anger
Uh-huh.
or being overwhelmed, they usually are people that are not spending their time serving.
Okay.
And because there is something that comes out of serving that, for the lack of a better phrase, like creates love. Like it helps you find love. And there, like that's something I've used with the kids often, and I encourage people around me that I feel like are open to it at least
Uh-huh.
to go do is if you're willing to just go serve
Yeah.
somewhere, just serve somebody that does not benefit you. It's going to be real hard for you to do that over a period of time and not very quickly see the difference between the love you have to eventually show when that servitude requires a sacrifice
Right. Yeah.
and the love you're showing before you start serving. That gap is going to be there, and it's going to be really difficult, not impossible, but really difficult to then turn and harm somebody or do anything harmful to the world when you have found that love. So I think like full circle, the that foundation of love, it can be found in serving.
Yeah.
And sometimes serving is just as simple as like I could be wrong for saying this, but I'll give an example because I feel like it's right in my heart.
Okay.
If let's say you're not a believer,
Uh-huh.
you can still serve at a church and be in that environment.
Mhm.
And you could be a usher. You could just help. You could just go to a church and offer to clean up. Like there's places you can go to if you don't want to go to a church just because you got some vice against that environment. Okay, fine. You can go to a soup kitchen.
Right.
If you're in the DFW Metroplex, there's 1,000 places for you to go serve. There's no shortage of needs for serving.
Right.
No shortage.
Right.
Like everybody could start serving and we still wouldn't have enough people. So like just go serve somewhere. And if you did that for a period of time, you will find, I think, within you the love that is foundational. And if you're married, I believe your marriage will be better. If you have children, I believe you'll teach them something that they wouldn't have learned otherwise by just watching you.
Yeah.
I think you'll be better. Your mental health will be better. It's really difficult to feel like you don't have value when you spend all your time serving and people see your value. Like I guess, and they acknowledge that to you. But that kind of ties into part of the topic too. Is like as men, a lot of us are designed to do most things in silence.
Okay.
We suffer in silence. We don't really know how to communicate when we're not getting love or not getting something, or we're struggling with something.
Right.
We also love in silence often. We serve in silence
Right.
often. Right. And it's like that's okay to do those things in silence, but just know that they have their pros and cons, right? Like loving in silence is great in the act of love, but when it comes to needing love, it's probably not great.
I think we're shifting a little bit. I think it's more of a cultural thing. I think that this current generation, I don't know if we're over adjusting, but I think there is a push to like mental health, communicate more, not hold it in, which is a good thing. I just think we need the balance. I think we need the strong. I think we need moments of silence and be strong and not show too much emotion. There's nothing wrong with showing emotion, but usually when I show emotion, it's because inside I'm just like bubbling.
Right.
If I show you anger, it's because I'm frustrated inside. So the problem is not showing emotions. The problem is like we don't have that self-control a lot of times. So there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with being frustrated and being displeased with something, but it's just like when those things take control, that's the real problem. So as a man, moments of silence are great. I need to be reflective. But then there's also times where I need to open up and I just communicate how I'm feeling, frustrations, joy, the hug, the compassion, like all of it. I need to have that balance in my life. And that we just got to show, men need to be shown that there's value in these things.
Right.
And we haven't always, our generation probably didn't see it as much.
No.
And then this generation is seeing a lot of it, but they also need to see what we got.
You know why I think they're seeing a lot of it though, is because a lot of our generation is breaking down and they're watching us break down and they're like, oh, there's more behind that wall.
Yeah.
We never saw it because dad, operated and was taught to operate in silence and like he had to be this rock. Yeah. It's the whole Superman Clark Kent thing, right?
Right.
Like the Clark Kent and Superman was like his actual identity, not Clark Kent. Like we're not built like that. And you can use whatever other analogy comes in there that's similar, but like we're not built like that. We are the Clark Kent, and also that's sufficient. That's sufficient.
Yeah.
Like being a good person is sufficient. Showing love is enough. But we think we have to be Superman and demonstrate that to the people around us. So then they're like, oh, he's fine. Like he's good. And we've been breaking. So now these young men, I think, are watching us and they're breaking early because good thing. They're recognizing they can. They're allowed to.
Right.
And then now there's this mental health push because of that. And that's a good thing. It's arming them with tools. And that I think that a lot of that has to happen in the house though, to be really successful. Like you can get tools from a forum like this. You can get tools from other forums, from other places, and all that's great.
Right.
The optimal place for those tools to be demonstrated is in the house.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's what a lot of work has to be done behind is like helping these young men understand that, like, one, it's okay to express the fractures in your armor.
Yep.
And two, it's really up to us, and we're charged to recognize the fractures in each other's armor,
right,
and to help seal those fractures up. And the only way you seal them is with love. Like, you don't seal them with accusation, you don't seal them with critique, you seal them with care.
Yeah. I think it starts kind of with you kind of referenced we're at some point we're going to talk about the individual relationships and how we show
Mhm.
love in those. But like
Yep.
as men, I pretend to be Superman specifically when I'm watching my brother and he looks like Superman
Mhm.
because that's what he's showing me.
Mhm.
If we don't show each other, hey, I'm really not Superman. Like I might be that might be what you're seeing, but I'm not that strong. Unless people start to see the other side, nobody ever feels comfortable enough to just be,
Mhm.
which is what that's the that's what we're shooting for. Is I don't want to pretend.
Right.
I just want to be. And when I be and I'm not healthy in my being, then let me heal so I can continue to be.
Mhm.
But we choose to, instead of being, let me hide this brokenness, pretend like it's not there until I can't pretend anymore. And then when it bubbles out, now I got a hard choice. Like, am I going to deal with this, or am I going to stay in this denial state? And I can't love you fully if I'm like that,
Yeah.
pretending, broken. So I think it starts like in our individual relationships, like as from man to man. I need to be able to be honest and say, man, shoot, this was a hard week, bro.
Yeah.
I'm holding on with it, barely holding on, you know. And then you need to be able to look me in the eye and be like, man, I know what you feel, man. I've been there.
Mhm.
Like I get it, bro. Here's my encouragement from what I went through.
Mhm.
So I think that's needed with
Well,
us.
and maybe like the part that I think we don't do on top of what you just said
Uh-huh.
is like, so what do you need? Like that, I don't. I think just as natural as you said that right there. Even that's more than I think what most people experience
Uh-huh.
when they're going through something. They don't get that from the people around them.
Yep.
But even further than that, what we're charged to do, because the bar shouldn't be the minimum. The bar should be like the bar. What we're charged to do is like the understanding part.
Right.
So what do you need? Like, do you need advice
Right.
about something specific?
Yep.
Do you just need an ear and a shoulder? I got you. Do you need to be encouraged?
Yep.
I got you. Do you not know what you need? Let's figure that out together.
Yeah.
You're like what is it? Because the other thing that's true about men that I think is more true about men than women at least is like for us we see everything as a puzzle to be solved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything is for us to fix.
Yep.
And sometimes that's to our own detriment, but that is how we wired. Like and what's a blessing is we're usually capable of fixing them
Yeah.
because God put that in us. So then like we see each other's brokenness and there's no man that's gonna look at a shield with a fracture and like not feel compelled to try to seal that shield up.
Yeah.
And it's not even because sometimes it's not even out of love. Sometimes it's out of character. Like we're fixers.
Yep.
We just fix it because it's there and it should be fixed. Right. So like I think that part is something that I would encourage men to do more, and that I need to do more. And I just think it's like we owe each other that because we're here.
I don't think we kind of goes back to what you were saying. It's like understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think sometimes we understand ourselves very well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we understand what we need. And so if I don't understand what I really need, how do I expect anybody else to help meet that need? It's like if you ask me like, how can I help? It's like, I don't know. I just need to be alone. Let me think on it some more. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I think the starting point is the understanding piece. And I think that's, when you're around brothers who are thinkers, who talk through things, who are transparent, like it just helps come to this place of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Very competitive. I know I need that, and my wife, she'll be like, she understands that about me. She's like, if I want to go play in a basketball league, she's like, go do it, boo. Like go do your thing. Because she understands he needs that. Like I'm wired, me personally, I'm wired to be competitive.
Right.
If I can't be competitive, it's just like it's a downer.
Does she say boo still in 2025?
She says boo in 20. She really does.
I'm like, is this Hall of Nights? I didn't realize that Murray was in this episode. No, that makes total. You're right. It kind of the analogy I was thinking about when you said that was, it's like imagine selling a house, but you never let anybody come in and see all the rooms.
Okay.
Right. And starting with you as the realtor, you haven't even looked at all the rooms.
Yeah.
So you're the house.
Yeah.
And you selling that. Now we're gonna get into the relationship part.
Yep.
You're selling that to a woman, and you haven't actually assessed all your rooms yet. So you don't even know really what work needs to be done on the home for its value to her. You don't
Right.
even know what it's worth. You just going off what it look like on the outside.
Yeah.
And we spend our time on the outside. Yard is tight. The doors and windows are nice. Paint's good. Foundation looks good from the outside. Roofing looks great. That inside could be a mess.
Yep.
Or it could be great in the living room, and there's two back rooms you hiding from everybody, including yourself.
Yep.
And that's where you find well, I don't really know what I need. It's the assessment. It's the self-assessment part. Like first, you kind of have to you kind of have to do that work yourself, because what you're asking a woman to do is now also buy the house, and this is not her house.
Yeah.
But you asking her to take more of a risk than you take every day, because you don't want to go face the rooms, but now you asking her to be in the house without actually being willing to deal with the rooms either.
And that's what singles are dealing with today.
Right.
It's like, first off, on social media, they're training you to just present the front of the house or show your best rooms. And then it's like, never show this. People don't find out this until you get married. And then it's like, I don't even think it's not even that valuable to us anymore, because I get clout off the outside, off the hedges, off this lawn. And it's like, I don't even think about I don't even want to think about the other rooms until I have to think about them.
Right.
And so you get into these relationships and people see the other rooms. And I'm like, bro, you didn't tell me about that. I don't want no part of that. So like men and women are both like, I'm working on myself. Don't bring them rooms in my life. I don't want to deal with that. I dealt with that before. I'm good now. It's like, it's just a mess, man. And people don't, it all boils down to like, people don't really understand how this thing works.
Right.
I think we treat life, he's created life to work a certain way. And we, as a society, we continue to push it down a different direction, and it's just going to break down,
It's breaking down.
It's breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
And we might put Band-Aids on it and, put a new coat of paint on it, but it's like, no, that car is breaking down. You can keep running it, but eventually it's going to do something bad on you. It's going to leave you hanging. But
I mean, I think to that point, the good news is that as long as we're here, as long as people are here, and we're kind of speaking about men right now. So as long as men are here,
right,
it's something can be done about it. And we can do that self-assessment. We can reflect on those rooms as an analogy. We can clean up those rooms and do that work if you're willing to, and here's we've got talking about this right before the session, but like, here's the truth too. If I got 3 dirty rooms and I'm willing to do the work on 2 of them, and that's how I'm gonna spend my life, like, that's better than 3.
It is.
Now I'm down to 1.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be. It's not about perfection.
Yeah.
It's just about persistence, and like just working on those things and self-recognizing. And then it's funny how liberating it is to just at first acknowledge, I have 3 dirty rooms. Yeah. Like, I have 3 spaces in my life that are not how they should be, and they are spaces that I often don't want to look at in the mirror.
Right.
I don't want anybody else to know about. And that, you might not realize it, but that takes an excessive amount of energy to keep those things in that space. Like that dirt in that room wants to come out.
Right.
And the light in the rest of the house you already have wants to go in.
Right.
So one is going to win eventually.
Right.
Otherwise, there's this constant pressure, and the thing in the middle is you.
Right.
Like, you're the one enduring all that pressure.
Right.
On that door. Something's gonna crack. So you might as well choose when it's gonna crack and how it's gonna crack. I just open the freaking door.
I think that's where love comes in, because love says, I'm willing to bridge the gap. I see your room. And I know it's gonna take a while for you to get that room together. I'm willing to bridge that gap to help with that. Like, that's why when you read in 1 Corinthians 13, like, when you look at what love is, it's like patient. So I can suffer long to help in this relationship. I'm not jealous. I'm kind. It's like all these things that's needed for this relationship to be maintained, I'm willing to do. And I don't think the world knows love like it's meant to be. we know lust, we know self-love, but we don't really know like the love the way it was intended to be. And so it's not working out well.
I think, yeah, you're right. We're confusing, and we're gonna get off the house analogy because I feel like I need 409 Clorox in my hand. But I think we do conflate like love with intimacy or lust. We think I think sometimes a lot of men have been brought up where love has got some sexual context to it.
Uh-huh.
Love is only between a man and a woman. Like there's lots of different types. The foundation is love. The love that I have for you is love. The love that I have for my wife is love. But
Right.
they're different. They're different tiers. I was almost explaining. Like
Uh-huh.
there is a fundamental part. To use your example you said earlier about seeing somebody walking into a street. Like I'm gonna grab you and I'm gonna grab my wife.
Right.
But then there also are things that I'm gonna sacrifice for my wife and her tier. She's the highest tier I have.
Right.
I'm gonna sacrifice for her that I wouldn't sacrifice for anyone else,
Right.
including myself.
Right.
Like there's things I've done for her that I have not done for myself, right? And I'm good with that because she's my highest tier.
Right.
But it's still all love.
Yep.
Right. It's like the 100th story of a building is still built on the same foundation as the second story.
Right.
But the people on the first story just don't get the access of the people on the 100th story. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think that's part of how one could look at it. But let's take that transition and into like the personal relationship.
Okay.
So like a man and a woman, a husband and spouse,
Right.
or boyfriend and girlfriend if you're not married yet. So like in your opinion, how can a man today maybe express what he needs and be, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe like satisfied, honored, feel respected, feel thanked, feel appreciated for what he gives in love. Because I think that's another part of this equation as you think about that. Like I think a lot of men experience a lot of sacrifice because we do it in silence. Like we create value, but we don't remind you of the value we created. That's not how we're mostly wired. I'm not going to create $1 million of value and then come remind you all the time, like, hey, did you recognize that I created all this value? We
Right.
just do it.
Right.
We just do it. But then oftentimes not highlighting it for how women operate sometimes makes it something that gets taken for granted.
Right. So yeah, that's the hard part about love. It's like, I have this constant reminder in my brain that I need things too.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm like constantly sacrificing for you to make sure you're taken care of, there is an expectation that like, man, I need you to say thank you. I need you to acknowledge the sacrifice I made. Like it's just always there, but it's there to the point where it can also contaminate what you're doing.
It can.
And so I don't have a perfect answer on like how to balance the two. I just know for myself, I need to do what I need to do because it's the right thing to do. And I have to challenge myself. You talked about the tiers to
Mhm.
put people and moments above myself. I don't mean like to my detriment,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it could be to my detriment. No greater love there is than for someone to lay down their life for a friend. So it could literally be to my detriment that I sacrifice my life for my family. So that's the hard part when you're talking about love. Is like I'm loving this person, but I'm not getting the things I need. It's like, well, yeah, that could happen for a season, and the season could be a long season, but that's a part that is innately a part of love. It's like this long suffering, this sacrifice, this all these things are really a part of love, and to the point where like I'm doing things motivated to get this other stuff that I also need.
Yeah.
It's just it's like this thing where we're juggling like constantly.
You hit something there too, because like it kind of actually gets it starts rather with the expectations that get set in the beginning.
Okay.
For instance, I did not do this with my wife, so I'm not even speaking from experience. I did this learning. We learned this over time, and we're still learning it, frankly. But like in the beginning, me and me and my soon-to-be spouse, let's say, like we're early, right? So we're gonna get married. We're start figuring it out. I'm gonna set some expectations and look for her to set some expectations with me about what it is we need. So it starts with the understanding thing. So
Okay.
it's like let's talk about what we need, period. Not
Okay.
even just from each other, because we don't even know that we can give each. I don't know that you tell me 100 things you need, I can fulfill all 100.
Right.
Some of those things may come from other places, right? So like I don't know that, but at least all the inventory, for lack of a better word, is on the table.
Okay.
You know what I need generally. I know what you need generally. And if there are some specifics that are important, we've highlighted those.
So are you saying like we should we should we should do this? What you're describing?
Right.
Okay.
So I'll give you like maybe a more specific example. So like a husband and a wife, or a husband and a wife, or maybe a boyfriend girlfriend. You sit down and you had a conversation because y'all want to be husband and wife about like who's going to, how do we want to handle our finances? Most common thing that gets misaligned and people get wrapped around the axle about.
Right.
So like how do we want to handle the finances? Out of that, a woman's expectation, let's say, is I expect my husband or my soon-to-be husband to be able to pay all of our core bills. Like I expect you to be able to pay for our house note
Okay.
and our car notes.
Okay.
That's what I expect.
Okay.
I don't expect to have to take care of all of those things. I expect to have to just share the finances and in some variance of that way.
Okay.
Right. But the husband doesn't want to work, or you see that he's struggling to keep a job, or
Okay.
you see, and maybe this is more about like as before you're married. It's really, that's really what I'm trying to describe. It's
Right.
like as you're setting expectations before you get into it. Because if you get into it, you in it. So like before you get into it, you got to set those clear expectations of here's what I expect, and here's what I need, and here's what you need. Because in order to do those things, there's going to be times you have to deliver those things where you're not happy. There's going to be times where you have to deliver those things where it is a sacrifice.
Right.
And that is where the love comes in, because you if you love the person, and you are committed to deliver what it is that y'all agreed on, then you're gonna make those sacrifices.
Okay.
If you don't, then eventually you're gonna waver. And now it's like, oh well, you're not doing what we said we were gonna do. But it really kind of started with either the expectations weren't clear, or maybe why y'all are together is not just love. Maybe there's not love at the foundation of why y'all are together. Maybe it's other things.
Okay. So here's my challenge with that.
Yeah.
Is I feel like that's what we have done as a society. It's like I come to the table, and this is what I expect from the person I marry one day. If he can't meet these expectations, like here's my list. If you ain't meeting these lists, we're not gonna work, because I already have this, and so I need you to bring this to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my only thing is, like, let's just say we go, somebody does premarital counseling.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to marry somebody, then what I'll probably do is we're going to go through like books like the 5 love languages.
Mm-hmm.
This is what kind of love looks like for different people. And do you understand how your spouse receives love? My point that I'm making is like the expectations that we bring to the table need to be not really looking for realistic, and not even looking for biblical. They have to be real expectations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like,
What's an example?
I think everybody needs. Let me think. That's a good question. What's an example? Because like I was raised in a certain environment, in a certain culture. My expectations come from that.
Okay.
So if I come to the table like I need my spouse to be in the gym, I need you to be in the gym.
Yeah.
Why do you need them in the gym? Now, if you tell me I want them in the gym because I want them to be healthy, okay, that makes sense. But if you like, I want my wife to be a size 2,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's your expectation, and you can go look for a size 2, but that's not.
So you're not gonna love her if she's not a size 2?
Right. That's when you start. That's when you start touching. Like that's not really love. Like that's your lust.
Mm-hmm.
To some degree. I mean, we all have preferences, but I'm just saying, like, you start bleeding into something else that's not really love.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need you to. I want these things. That's you. as opposed to like, man, this is the person who I've developed strong feelings for. If they become a size 12 or 14 or whatever, and and now I'm not attracted to you anymore, and now I need somebody else because you're not meeting my needs. Like, didn't this? So my only challenge is like when we set it, when we go into something with like these expectations, which many of them are reasonable, but sometimes they get out of control, and it's like that's not going to work like 10 years from now. Because I promise you that person's going to change, and you're going to change. And you're going to have to figure out how you've changed as you're both changing. And like if your thing is like when you're no longer meeting my expectations, so now I'm out, or now I'm unhappy, or do I really want to do this anymore? Then it's just not going to work. It's almost like a mindset that we bring into marriage these days. And I think it plays into like why they don't work a lot of times.
So high.
Yeah.
To that point, I guess, it's just there's some line there, and the line's probably different for everybody too.
Yeah.
Where like if I don't think my wife ever was worried about this.
Gotcha.
Because I'm a workaholic. But if she had an expectation that was explicit, which she never said this to me, but if she had an expectation that was explicit early of, I expect you to be able to at least, do the majority part financially because we have kids.
Right.
Do the majority part financially to keep a roof over our head, keep food on the table, and provide a vehicle for me to drive of any kind, like some sort.
Right.
That doesn't sound unreasonable to me.
Right.
And I would be, if I had to be told that, I'd be fully aligned to doing what I had to do to provide that, to doing my best to provide that. And I guess that's the part when you were talking, what I was hearing was like more about effort than it is about like anything else. So it's kind of like the love part is like effort is a reflection of love oftentimes.
Okay.
And like, it doesn't mean that you fulfill every need.
Right.
It just means that you had effort toward fulfilling every need.
Right.
Like I guess a different feeling when you said something to your spouse or your spouse said something to you and you don't even show any effort at all.
Right.
Toward fulfilling that.
Yeah.
Versus when you really, really tried. And it's not just in your head that you tried, like you actually tangibly tried.
Yeah.
You can point to specific things that are seeable, they're visual, and it didn't quite hit the bar, but there was effort there. It goes back to the comment about like sometimes we have to accept fair.
Yeah.
Like that was fair. You tried it. It wasn't poor. It was fair. It wasn't great either.
Right.
But you can't expect that maybe. It's just I got fair out of you, and I respect that, and I appreciate that you tried, and I understand that everything I ask of you is not going to be something you can deliver because everything you ask of me, I'm not going to be able to deliver.
Okay, so what do you do when everybody accepts excellence, and for the most part, most people in general will struggle and accept fair.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the poor? When you have poor areas of your life. And I would venture to say we all have something.
We all do, yeah.
What does love look like during those times?
I would assume anyone who tells me they don't is lying.
Yeah,
I just flat out. Maybe that's a wrong belief, but I'm just like that can't be true, man. You human, like it can't be true.
Yeah.
So you're saying like, what do you do about it?
Like, what does love look like with these poor areas?
Poor?
I
think
like there's no
yeah.
You feel like there's no effort.
Question.
Like, man, why you're not even trying right now?
Yeah, last time, if we're talking about marriage, last time I checked, when I said my vows, rich or poor, better or worse,
right.
Sick or healthy or sick, like all of those were adjectives used or statuses used to describe what we were committing to endure.
Right.
So like from a believer perspective, that I think that you have to have grace for that.
Yeah.
Right. And just like full transparency, I've been through a divorce early in my life. So like I know what that feels like to not keep that commitment.
Right.
And I had to sit with that for a minute.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't mean that we couldn't have loved each other a lot better. We could absolutely have. And it takes two to get a marriage, right? Two to make it tear apart. Yeah. So like I believe all of that. At the same time, man, when you don't keep that commitment, like I guess it's something that sits with you for a minute, and
Right.
and you can feel like a muscle tearing. It takes a while to get past it. I think if you care about your commitment in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think what I learned out of that process, and ties back to your question, is like what comes with in that state where like the other person is delivering a poor response to what you're asking for in the form of love is grace. And it's a word we haven't even said yet. Like, it's grace. There is a period, and a almost like, if you're leaning on God, it's an infinite amount of grace that
Right.
you're gonna have to try to find and apply. And you're gonna have to have some likely like really good assumed intent. Like, you don't have to assume the intent is positive. And if you really believe that both of y'all stood there and said those vows, or could stand there and say those vows soon and mean them, then she said better or worse, man. Like, she
Right.
might not be able to give you what you wanted today, but you got to have some grace. You got to communicate, and you got to love her in spite of that.
Yep.
And love yourself enough to communicate, like what you're not getting and what
Right.
you need.
Right.
Love yourself enough to communicate that, but love her enough to give her the grace to give it to you.
Yep.
And it might take her, when you said a season, I'm gonna put some time on it. It might take her 5 years to figure that out. It may take you 5 years to figure it out too.
Yep.
So it's like, you want the grace, so then you have to give it to her, and you might be the first one to give it.
Yep.
And like, this may sound maybe overly optimistic, but I think men are built to give more grace. We just don't give it.
What do you mean?
I think I think men are made to love and to show, and I think grace is like one of the deepest signs of love that you can give.
Mhm.
Like I love you enough to find the grace to give you in this moment, so that we can do whatever it is we're trying to do together. Like, I love you enough to give you that grace.
Yeah.
And we don't do that with each other, let alone like, so if we don't do that with each other, that means we don't practice it anywhere else but with a woman. So how can you be good at something if you don't practice it?
Yeah.
So like if you think you're doing it with her well and giving her grace, you're probably not.
Right.
So like practice it frequently with all of the people around you that you love and care about, and you'll find that you could do that for her a lot better too.
Yeah.
And it's okay for you to also ask for some grace. Like, I think that's important too. You got to be able to ask for it as well.
Yeah. I don't know that I really think about it. I think most people, we're not really loving others. I think we're probably 95% of the time loving ourselves very well, as best we know how, with everything we got. I think when it comes to showing love to others, which usually I think is proven in the hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't tell me you love me, and then when we go through a rough spot, you go have an affair. You never loved me. You loved yourself, and you love the fact that I could bring these things into your life.
Mm-hmm.
When those things stop, you go elsewhere. You didn't love me. I don't know that we see love a lot. I think we're being wired by our culture to love ourselves very well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the actual loving of others, it's like, I think most people love their kids very well.
Yeah, that's a good example.
I think the way we love our kids, most people are right on, spot on. But when it comes to the other people outside of our kids, it's like, I think we all kind of just struggle.
I'll share this one, like, just to challenge one part of that.
Okay.
I think that, like, somebody does something in a marriage or does something harmful to somebody they love, whether it's in a marriage and they cheat, or if it's like they stole something from somebody they really love.
Okay.
I actually would say, I don't know that it's always true that they never loved them.
Okay.
I think that it goes back to that tiering conversation.
Okay.
You were treating them like they were on the 100th story, but really they only had access to the 3rd, and you weren't willing to give them commitment because that's on floor 10.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Like I loved you enough to be with you 6 years and then get married, and took care of us the whole time,
Right.
And our kid,
right.
As an example, or our lifestyle, whatever that scenario is.
Right.
So I loved you. I didn't love you like 10th or 100th floor.
I can see that. I can see that.
So I think that goes back to the core of the conversation, which is like us defining love and recognizing when we love someone and when we don't, and how much love, what tier, what floor are they on, in that example, and being real with that.
Yeah.
And here's the hardest part: being real with them with that,
Right.
of where they are,
Yeah.
and what they can expect from you.
I think people talk about falling out of love. I kind of get that
Hmm.
if it's not a superficial thing,
Hmm.
but I do think like your love for somebody can grow stronger and stronger.
Hmm.
And I guess on the flip side, based on how, if people constantly do harm to you, it's
Yeah,
you
that
know,
that floor. I'm gonna change your badge access. I'm gonna put you on the tenth floor. You go down for 20.
only reason I kind of pause when saying that though too is because I think God continues to love us even when we don't love Him back.
Hmm.
But then there's also consequences for that. There's correction. There's so it's like I don't ignore the fact that you're mistreating me.
Yeah.
I still respond to it, but doesn't mean I don't. I love you enough to not let you keep doing this behavior, whatever it is.
Right.
So I think that's the. But I do think we kind of can. Our love can grow stronger, and I guess in the reverse, it can go. You can kind of start to lose love. I just don't think you gained a couple pounds. I'm not in love with you anymore. I don't think it's like that. I think that's something else.
Right.
It's a very very immature type of love. If I'll give you that maybe, but if I lose you because I lost a leg, I know that's a hard situation, but I don't
I
know.
think you just weren't on the floor, you thought.
Yeah.
Like that's and that's where it does get exposed. That's probably a good place to switch. Kind of wrap us up to the tools. It's a good example because like sometimes it's the test. That's why the marital vows are that way. Over time, they have become what they are today because they're written in a manner to get you to think about the test.
Right.
It's gonna be a test. Like
Right.
it's not about if, it's just when.
Is when.
It's gonna be a test.
Yep.
Something's gonna happen. You're gonna disappoint the other person. You're gonna get disrespectful with the other person. You're going to um, make a mistake with money. Cut your eye at a woman or a man in a way you weren't supposed to, or you're going to say something to a child that the spouse didn't appreciate, or
Right.
you're going, like, all these things that could happen. All these things, make a bad job decision, and that hits y'all. Like whatever it is, that test's gonna happen, and you're gonna get more than one of them. So like, it's not even really about what you score on it. It's just about, can you endure it?
Right.
Can
Right.
you endure it with love and with grace?
Yep.
And if you can do that, the vows are intended to challenge you to think about it. But to your point, it's really difficult to think about it when you don't have specific examples. Really good idea, maybe good segue into the tools.
Mhm.
If you're thinking about getting married, or you are already married and you are trying to figure out as a man, like, I don't feel the love that I need, and I'm struggling feeling like the love I'm giving is seen or appreciated, or maybe I'm not, maybe I don't know if it's meeting the needs or not. Like, counseling,
Yep.
like marital counseling. You mentioned it earlier, because I know you've done plenty of that yourself, and as far as facilitating, like that, it's a potent tool. It's powerful. It helps you to get to those dirty rooms and figure them out and sift through them together. I guess what would you add to that as it relates to like what counseling could do as a tool for those who are married or maybe thinking about getting married?
Yeah, I think counseling is very important. Not just counseling, therapy, like all through life is
Mm,
important because it challenges you to understand what's really happening. And so, like, if I do marital counseling, I want this couple to understand what you're walking into. Do you understand who this person is on the other side of the table? Like, you have all these feelings right now that are clouding, your judgment to some degree, maybe. But I want you to walk in this thing understanding, hey, this person needs this.
mhm.
You need this. You walk in with an understanding of like what needs to happen in this thing. Now I know over time that's going to change. That's why I think, you know, counseling, therapy, accountability, all that stuff is needed all through relationships. But I think, in the beginning specifically, I think for people who are starting a new relationship on the level of marriage, you need somebody to help you with that understanding, because like then you're gonna always have the challenges when you're loving someone, but it just helps. Like, I see that room back there. I'm walking into this knowing there's rooms.
Mhm.
and I'm preparing myself to deal with those rooms. If I don't ever know about the rooms and I just walk in, it's like, whoa, we need to demolish this thing.
Right.
This ain't gonna work.
Right. Almost like walking in and seeing a scorpion in here. I'm just gonna burn it down. Like it's just I'm just burn this thing down. That's it. I don't even want to try to get it out.
Yeah.
Ain't no pest control. Don't light it on fire. No, that's good. That's good. And I guess from an additional tool set perspective, the other thing that comes to mind is just the main tool of asking, like seeking for that understanding from from your partner. And maybe what I'm being more specific about, and probably not saying it well, is seek the understanding before you seek to be understood on what you're not getting.
Yeah.
That like as a man, that's hard, and sometimes, especially if you feel like you're going without for a minute, like that can be difficult. But I would encourage anybody who's listening, like seek out the understanding of what it is your partner needs and what it is that she feels like she's not getting in the form of love, and then talk through that and like only seek to understand. Don't make an excuse. Don't tell her why she's not getting it. Don't tell her she's wrong. Don't tell her that she doesn't understand. She is getting it. Like none of those. You're just seeking to understand.
Yeah.
And when you get done, this is part of the tool. Thank her for explaining. And don't say anything else. Just go reflect. Just go process and think.
Yeah.
And I challenge any man to do that and not like be intentional about not taking it as an accusation. It's not a critique that you're a bad man. It's not a critique that you're weak or you don't love her.
Right.
It's just she's telling you what she needs, and that's it.
I love what you said, because I think we go silent at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the midst of like communicating something like that, where you're trying to get understanding, like that's probably the perfect time for us to go silent and just listen, just get an understanding. That's hard for us as men, because if you tell me I'm doing something wrong, or even if you tell me what you need, I'm going to hear I'm not doing something I need to be doing as a man, and I might naturally go to defend.
Right.
That might be the time right there to just be silent, just listen, give it a day or two, process it, and then you can respond probably better.
Well, so somebody in the chat just asked something that's specific, which is what if she doesn't know what she needs, and that's something that, like, if you're married or you're with somebody you want to marry, that's something that you may have to figure out with her together. Like it's not like you got all the answers for yourself either about what you want and what you need.
Right.
You may think you do, but when it comes down to it and you get those things, or I'll even reflect, when you've gotten those things and you thought that you had what you needed, you weren't happy. So you didn't feel loved. So some of it might just be some self-discovery together.
Yeah.
It actually would be really common. It's a great question. It would be really common for that to happen, where both you and her may not be really good at explaining or understanding what it is you need. And I think that's the part of a marriage and love that's probably the most exciting, is like it's almost like an adventure.
Okay.
Like we're trying to figure out what it is that she needs together.
Right.
And maybe the toughest part is that hopefully she'll say that.
Right.
That's the toughest part, which might be what's behind the question. Like hopefully she'll say, I'm not really sure, instead of, because you're kind of tempted to make something up or to say what you think and not feel.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I think as a habit, we need to challenge ourselves to get the understanding. And part of that is, in order for me to understand certain things, sometimes I need the perspective of somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a good friend who, like, if I go through something or if I'm frustrated about something, I call them up, because I know they're not an echo chamber. That's the only way I'm going to get understanding.
What do you mean by they're going to tell you the truth? No
They're
matter.
they're going to give me their. First of all, they're totally different. They're the opposite of me.
Okay.
But I know that we're great friends. We've known each other for years, and I know they're going to give solid advice. So I know, like, I'm not going to want to hear what they have to say. I call knowing this, but only way for me to understand is I need these other perspectives. I need this angle over here. I need this angle over here, so that I can get a full view of what's happening. Well, like if you're talking about your spouse, or something that's going on in your relationship, it's like, okay, I see one thing. My spouse sees one thing. Maybe I need to go talk to God about it, because there's something I'm not seeing, and that's why I don't have the understanding.
Right.
So whether you're talking about God, whether you're talking about a trusted friend, whatever it is, I think we need a perspective. We need other perspectives to get an understanding.
So there's another tool. There's the last tool.
Yeah.
Seek out other perspectives.
Yeah.
Of people that will not tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need that person like child. I wouldn't put up with that.
Right. You don't
That
need
is
him.
not what you need. That's not understanding.
You don't need her. Get rid of her.
That's not understanding. That's somebody trying to fix a short-term problem
Right.
in a long-term way. It's like you need somebody with wisdom that's gonna listen and it's gonna like, you know what? I'm seeing this over here, and they're strong enough to tell you some hard stuff.
Yep. And they love you enough too.
Yes.
That takes a whole lot of vulnerability to tell you what they know you don't want to hear.
Yep.
That's real vulnerable.
Yep.
Honestly, to me, it's one of the most vulnerable things somebody can do in life in general.
Yeah.
Is like put themselves out there, risk their relationship with you, or risk not being, for lack of a better phrase, like not being on your good side or not being liked by you by telling you what's true and honest. And if they do that from a place of love and not critique, that's a really vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate anybody that does that to me. Anybody that does it to me, I don't forget it because I just think they're being so exposed. So no, I think that's a good place to stop and wrap up. So a couple of tools. Hopefully, the conversation was beneficial to anybody listening. We're thankful for all the subscribers on the various channels, and we've actually seen like we've made some posts about this where we've seen some recent elevation in our engagement online. So we appreciate y'all. Yes, for anybody who gets this is not following, please follow us on YouTube at least, if not on Facebook and Instagram. And y'all have a blessed one. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.